Blessed day, guys, and peace be upon you this morning. So in this video we're going to do a port address translation in a short part, or it's popularly known as NAT overload. So we're going to do NAT overload configuration using Cisco Packet Tracer, and I will open our Google spreadsheet. I'll let you know that today we're covering the last part of number 13 part. Okay. Alright, so part basically means port address translation. So in port address translation, it's a kind of many to one translation, but now the services are differentiated in terms of port numbers. Okay. Alright, so let's say we want to translate all of the IP addresses in this subnet, okay, into 200.150.1. okay, so the first translation will be like 200.150.1, then colon the port number. The second one will be .1 colon port number. It will be just like 1 colon something. Now the service will be differentiated using the port numbers. Okay. Alright, so we're going to see this after the results, so that you understand it better. Okay. Alright, so I'll open our notepad to allow the steps to follow. So we need to draw the necessary topology with decorator and comment. I've already done that. So you can see here is the NAT router, is the SP, and this is the Google web server, and we need to access the Google web server from our inside network. Okay. Alright. So the next step is to configure IP addresses to the routers and host, and finally you configure OSPF. So guys, I've already done IP addressing on the routers and the computers, and if I can just try to hover over this router, you can see I've done the IP address like gig 00 to take 200.150.1/30, gig 01 take 192.168.20.1/24. So this interface will act as the default gateway for this LAN here. Okay. So also in this one, you can see IP address is like 200.150.2 and also 888.1/24. Okay. Alright, so that 888.1 is the default gateway of the web server. Okay. Alright. Okay, so when I go back, we've been told to configure SPF. Unfortunately, I didn't configure SPF, so let's do it together. Click on this one. We go in that. We go to CMD CLI exit, and you just say router OSPF 10, then router ID. Router to be like 3.3.3.3. Okay. Then we advertise the networks. So the networks are like 192.168.20.0 with the wildcard mask of 0.0.0.255 area 0. Another network here is this one, okay, which is 200. Another network is 200.100.50.0, a wildcard mask of 0.0.0.3, okay, area 0, because it's just starting notation. Exit and do right. So let's go to this one and configure SPF. Okay. Exit router OSPF 10, and then router ID to be let's 4.4.4.4. okay. Then network to be like 8.8.8.0 with the wildcard mask of 0.0.0.255 area 0. Another network is 200.100.50.0 wildcard mask of 0.0.0.3 area 0. So we wait to form adjacency with the other router before we begin testing communication. Okay. All right. So it has formed adjacency with the first route. Okay, so they are already neighbors. So we just go here, come to desktop, then CMD, and try to ping the Google server, so 8.0.8, okay, and we just hit enter. Just wait it because it will ping, can remember we configured SPF, and SPF will enable them to communicate, right? Okay, then another point says that we need to test out the path. So let's just test out to 8.8.8.8. Test out basically tells us the paths that the packet follow to reach the destination. You can see those are the paths that it follows to reach the destination. Then finally, this part says that we need to check if there are any translations. So translations we check on the router, not on the computers. Okay, just you come back to this router and enable. Then you just say show IP NAT translations and see empty content. Okay, all right. So when you go back to our notepad again, number 4 says that create a standard access control list to permit the inside subnet. We need to create a standard access control list to permit these IP address for translation. So we just go here and config T. We just say access list standard access list start from 1 to 100. So I can just choose something like 735 today. Access list 35 permit which subnet? Which is 192.168.20.0 in the wildcard mask of 0.0.0.255. You can as well use the normal subnet mask. Okay, all right. So after using that, after creating the access control list, then we need to configure path to refer to the created access control list for translation. Now we need to configure path. And how do we configure path? We have to first configure access control list and use that access control list to generate path. So we just say IP NAT inside source. Let me query source list, this one 35. Okay, 35 to use this one. Okay, 35. Then we query again interface. Which interface? The outgoing interface, this one, which is gig 00 gig 0/0. Okay, then we query again overload. That's all about path. That's why it's called NAT overload. This is just a simple command. There are only 2 commands here, 1 and 2. First thing, create an access control list and permit the inside network. Then create a path or NAT overload referring to the access control list created. Just say IP NAT inside source to use access control list 35. You remember the access control list 35 as the content of permitting that one. Okay, then everything should be translated using this interface. It will be the IP address of that interface. That's why you can see here it's overload. Okay, all right. So finally we need to create missed something here. Interfaces to be NAT inside and outside. Okay, all right. So remember, this one should be NAT inside, this one NAT outside. Okay, so just go here and say interface gig 0/1 IP NAT inside, exit. Then interface gig 00 IP NAT outside, exit, and do right. So if I can just say show IP NAT translations, you can see we still have empty content because we have not pinged the web server. So let's try to ping the web server again. I will try to ping the web server again. Ping. Yes, it's pinging, right? Then if I can just go here again and try to show IP NAT translation, now you can see the translations are here. Alright, so guys, basically I believe this video has really helped you now to configure NAT overload, or in short, PAT. Okay, so I'll come here and mark that section number 13 as done. So when we meet next, let's configure a normal HSRP and HSRP with multiple VLAN. So thank you so much guys. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video, share with friends, and let me know what you're thinking on the comment section. Bye and see you again in the next class.